to live a certain lifestyle, right? Being a world-class professional athlete takes total commitment. You have to be in the gym all the time training, your diet, nutrition, your recovery, right? I'm never healthier than I am when I'm in a training camp.
Yeah.
Perfect diet. Like I go to bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock every night. I'm on a schedule. Like I said, I have that direction and that drive. And I find a lot of times when I don't have a fight booked, when I don't have something coming up, it's easy for me to fall into drinking too much, bad eating habits, skipping the gym, right? My health a lot of times can go by the wayside when it's not required of me.
Yeah.
So a lot of times fighting, ironically, can be good for my health, and that it forces me to be a healthier individual, the healthiest individual that I can be.
Yeah. Well, it's all like coping skills, right? So it's like drugs, alcohol, it's a way to avoid pain. And it sounds like you found in fighting another outlet to put your energy into that helps kind of distract from that pain a bit. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I would say that it is, definitely. And, so I'm very thankful for combat sports for everything that it's given me. And now I'm really focused on trying to give back to the sport and to the athletes that help make it.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about, I know we talked a bit about identity in young men and kind of feeling lost and not knowing where we're going. I know you've personally had some experience of loss with young men that have lost their lives to suicide. What's your experience with that, and how has that maybe shifted your perspective a bit?
Yeah, it's definitely an issue that's close to home. I dedicated my last fight to my older brother, Daniel, and my friend, Jeff, who both lost their struggle with mental health and took their own lives within the last year. Obviously, very heartbreaking. My brother Daniel has struggled with drug and alcohol addiction as well as mental health disorders his entire life. And he's no longer in pain, which, I'm happy about, but obviously it's very tragic and heartbreaking losing your big brother. And my friend Jeff was a fighter who I trained. One of the things about fighters, we're trained not to show that we're hurt. You have to be able to press forward even when you're in pain, right? And I had no idea that Jeff was in pain like that. And I wish I did. I wish he had said something, but, you can't go back now. And then obviously I've had my own issues. Like I said, I've been down and out with drug addiction, homelessness, jail, rehab, and I've certainly had those thoughts myself. So yeah, trying to focus on being outspoken and being an advocate for mental health. I feel like a lot of times it can be a subject that's kind of taboo, right?
Yeah.
It's tough to talk about, and maybe people don't always want to be real candid or open about it. So I try to be that way in my own experiences, to show that it can happen to anybody, and that there is help, right? That you can work through it and get to a better place. Yeah, really focused on mental health and helping athletes who are struggling.
Yeah, I think it's admirable because I agree with you. I think you hit the nail right on the head that we're taught as men at a young age to just fight on, to keep going.
Rub some dirt on it.
Yeah. Suck it up, man up, tough it out. Like any young man is really given those messages, and whether it's from other kids, whether it's from adults, coaches, I mean, those messages are prevalent growing up for kids. So now seeing someone like you who is a bad motherfucker and is a bare knuckle world champ, I mean, I think it takes the tough men in our society to show that we can talk about this to overcome some of those messages that we receive when we're younger. Because it's one thing for me, as a therapist to say like, yeah, let's talk about this. But I'm the feelings guy, right? Like everyone, I'm a therapist. Everyone's like, yeah, well, he's supposed to say that. But to hear it from someone like you who is physically tough, mentally tough, and for you to be willing to say, hey, let's talk about this shit. I think that message rings louder and more clear to a lot of the young folks out there.
Yeah, most definitely. And, to your point, I think you really nailed it. You said, we're conditioned by society to be tough, to be, masculine, don't cry, don't be a wuss, right? I think that being open and being honest takes a certain amount of vulnerability, right? It might not seem like it, but in a way, there is a certain level of toughness that requires to be vulnerable. And I think I learned that from fighting, right? You'll never be more vulnerable than you are inside of a professional prize fighting ring.